Hi everyone, my name is Kayla Clark, and I will be sharing about the book that I read over the summer. So, this young adult fiction book that I decided to read was Looking for Alaska by John Green. This book won the Michael L. Prince Award and was published in 2003. It has 221 pages and is one of my favorite books that I've ever read. For the summary of this book, Miles leaves his old isolated life back in his hometown where he didn't have a ton of friends, didn't go out a lot, and he decides to attend a boarding school in Alabama called Culver Creek. And here at this boarding school, he meets his new friend group. So he meets the Colonel, Takumi, Alaska, and Laura. These friends really get close quickly and they start playing some pranks, hanging out together. They drink, they experiment with some life that they haven't experienced before, and it's a really fun story to see that from an outside perspective, I think. So when they are playing pranks and having fun, they aren't really focusing on school, doing all of that stuff. So one day after they played a pretty awesome prank, and it was really successful at their school, the Colonel, Alaska, and Miles decided to head back to their room, celebrate a little, drink a little, have some fun. And while the Colonel and Alaska were drinking, Miles was just sitting back taking it in. He wasn't involving himself with anything. And then while they were hanging out, Alaska got a call and she had to leave pretty suddenly. And the Colonels and Miles didn't think anything of it, but the next morning, I think it was a pretty shocking situation for them. So the next morning, an official at the school called everyone down to hear an announcement, and that is when the Colonel and Miles found out that Alaska was involved in a pretty tragic accident and had passed away. The friend group was completely shocked. They didn't know how to handle the situation, and they just immediately went to guilt that they didn't help their friend, that they didn't stop their friend from driving that night, or that they could have been with Alaska, a whole bunch of things. And while they were grieving and going through this, they completely withdrew themselves from school. They were not in school, they weren't focusing on school, and just having a tough time dealing with the loss of their friend. After a while, they start realizing that nothing can bring Alaska back and that they just need to live life in her memory. So they play one last good prank at the school, all for Alaska, and then they forgive themselves and say that I need to focus on school and focus on my life. That's what Alaska would have wanted. So after a while, they go back to their normal lives, focus on studies, and continue on. It's a pretty good story of grief and guilt and how that really can affect people in their mindset and in their day-to-day activities. I love this book. I think I first read this book when I was a freshman in high school, and it's just been around my life ever since. It's always a good little quick read. Doesn't take very long to get through it, and it's just so intriguing you can't put it down. I would recommend this book for really anyone that's looking for a cute, easy read that is kind of heartwarming and heart-throbbing at the same time. It was a great book, but thank you so much.